When the Trump administration's policies come into full effect, they're going to be extremely unpopular. And so there's a variety of Republicans who are trying to get out ahead of the issue and save themselves before the ship sinks entirely.
I'm actually putting the blame on the Speaker and Leader Thune in the Senate. This should not be happening. Many of my friends and even my own children are finding health insurance to be extremely unaffordable and something that they are having to go without. So I think this is an incredibly important issue. I think it is a crisis. I don't think it's something to wear political party team jerseys on. I think it's something that we have to address and fix.
Do you agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I mean, first, it's awful that her kids feel they have to go without health insurance. She's probably in the same situation that I am. I'm the one that does the shopping for insurance in my family. I'm the one that does the budgeting and everything else like that. And I'm sure she helps her kids do that. So she understands, like, the premiums their kids are about to pay are going to be massive. It is a failure on Thune and Johnson, not necessarily because they're shutting down, but also they just didn't even bring it up to their membership. They didn't bring up, hey, we need to start negotiating to come out with a path out of this. You know, Johnson sent his team home, not necessarily just to put pressure on us, so he doesn't get pressure from his own members. He's barely going to win, and he's probably going to lose the speakership next year. But he's putting his members on a plank that's not reversible.
And as you know, his argument is, well, they passed the CR in the House. It's on the Senate to pass it. That's what Senate Democrats keep voting down, which is why the government is shut down. But a Democratic pollster responded to what Marjorie Taylor Greene said about that and grocery prices and said, wow, when MTG does economic messaging better than the Democrats, we should take notice. That's John Anzalone, who did polling for President Biden. Is she doing messaging better than the Democrats are on this issue?
Well, she's not doing better than me, but she's definitely doing better than a lot of Democrats. But let's back up. I want to make sure we focus on something. They did a CR till November 21st. The problem with that is rates start going up November 1st. Americans have to decide what to do with their insurance.
That's when open enrollment starts.
That's when it starts. The fact is they purposely put that day off so they could actually make their members make hard decisions instead of actually trying to negotiate something before November 1st. So they are absolutely abdicating their negotiation power, their ability to fight for Americans to make sure they have affordable health care by purposely putting that date, November 21st, and then saying we're not coming back in.
And to allow Democrats to have some sort of moral high ground on this issue because they're the only ones talking about it, I think is a major failure from the Republican Party. And I'm not going to stand there and just keep talking the talking points when my own adult children can hardly afford health insurance premiums, when everyone in my district, it's the #1 issue that I hear about day in and day out, not just people on the ACA, but people that have private insurance as well. And I think it's something that we have to talk about. And I don't see why the government needs to be shut down. I really don't. I believe that if Republicans learn to govern and wield power, they can use the nuclear option in the Senate. They can open up the government. We can get back to work for the American people, and Republicans can solve this problem that is a very big problem that we can't ignore.
Congresswoman Greene specifically said that Republicans do not have a plan to deal with health care.
Congresswoman Greene does not serve on the committees of jurisdiction that deal with those specialized issues, and she's probably not read in on some of that because they've still been sort of in their silos of the people who specialize in those issues. When we get the conference back and when everybody's back together, we'll go through a lot of that. I mean, I've spoken personally to a number of members in the last 3 days, Republicans, from the most conservative member to the more moderate member, with their various ideas on that. There's a lot of work that's been done on that. It's implied as if this has been some sort of ignored issue. It's not that at all. Okay, but everybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, not everyone knows everything. Congress is a very complex organization, operation, institution with lots of things going on in lots of different areas of committees of jurisdiction. And no one member has read in on everything that happens because that would be an impossible amount of information.
You know, it's interesting to see people like Marjorie Taylor Greene sit up and talk about health care costs and how even her children are having to deal with that. And this is something that pretty much every American can relate to. But at the same time, you blindly back everything that Donald Trump does. And the Republican platform that is vehemently against public benefits. You know, Republicans ain't trying to expand the Affordable Care Act, expand Medicare, Medicaid. There's nothing on the Republican agenda that suggests that they have that in mind. Never has been.
We need to have those subsidies right now. Look, the reason why Mike Lawler and some Republicans want a 1-year extension because they want to get past the 2026 midterms. People need to understand that right now, at this very moment, people's healthcare premiums are going to, in some cases, double. People can't afford the cost of healthcare already. And Donald Trump promised he's going to lower the cost of your groceries. That hasn't happened. He's going to lower the cost of housing and of rent. That hasn't happened. And now folks are going to get serious increases to their costs for their healthcare. Some folks have already been told this through letters, through their own carriers or insurance carriers contacting them. And that's going to occur over the next few weeks. And so this idea at this moment that we're going to essentially allow healthcare premiums to go up is absolutely wrong. That's why we're in this fight. That's why we're saying absolutely not. Let's lower the cost of healthcare and let's stop giving more huge tax breaks to billionaires in this country.
Well, Congressman, this comes as well as you look at what's happening right now with the shooter, Luigi Mangione, and you're seeing so many people on TikTok praise him. This is a man that lost his life. You're seeing CEOs of other healthcare companies pull their staff off of the websites because they're scared. Where do you think this violence is coming from? And do you think it's just going to get exacerbated as we continue into the Trump era with some of these people?
I'm glad you asked that question, and I've been watching this unfold, and I believe it's the beginning of a political movement. You know, the left and the right, political movements, they try different tactics. They try protests. They try marches. They try storming congressmen and women's offices. They try violence. They try riots. And oftentimes when they're not successful, maybe they're moving to assassinating just one person in order to make the changes they think they want. But there should never be a time where people are cheering on the death of an innocent man, a murder that happened on video that we've all seen unfold over and over again on the news. And this is someone that was clearly mentally unstable and came from a life of privilege and went and killed a CEO for whatever his reasons are, and supposedly as a manifesto. But what I'm more concerned about is we've seen the left push for socialized medicine for years. Bernie Sanders had Medicare for all. I hope this doesn't turn into where they take this guy they're praising, right, and make him some sort of hero that they all worship and then pick up the mantra and move it and go after other people.
I mean, when Donald Trump was debating Kamala, he was like, oh, I have concepts of a plan. And then in Trump's first administration, they were supposed to repeal and replace Obamacare. But of course, that never came to fruition. So, all this Epstein mess is really what's got Marjorie Taylor Greene in a spin. And she's been adamant on Donald Trump to release that and adamant on the administration to release everything. But at the end of the day, you've been one of the loudest cheerleaders for Donald Trump and everything that he represents and everything that he stands for. So I guess it's good on the one hand to see some Republicans standing up and saying, look, this is the Republicans' fault that we have this shutdown. We have control of the Senate and the House. It's us. We want to raise healthcare costs. She didn't go as far as to say the Republicans want to raise healthcare costs, but that's exactly what they're trying to do. So a little too late.